Okay, now I'm going to start. So we're going to first recite the prayers to the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the fourth destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakening being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakening one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conquerors, the subduer for the Shaka clans, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the fourth destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakening being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings. To you, the completely and fully awakening one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer upon the shattered clean, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the fourth destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakening being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sukata, knower of the world, supreme guide to be human beings to be tamed, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakening one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shaka clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out seven strides, then says, I'm supreme in this world. To you who were very wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies from supremely pure wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blaze in the three worlds, winner of the best Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs face like spotless moon, color like a gold, to you I prostrate. Thus free like you, the three worlds are not incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with the qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachments, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies and prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also shows the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community, intending virtues are prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberrations, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioning things as such. Through these merits, may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the four false, and be delivered from some surface oceans perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. I bow down to the mother of the conquerors of the three times, the perfection of wisdom inexpressible by words or thoughts, which is unproduced and unceased like the entity of the sky, the object of the wisdom of unique knowledge. Teata kate kate parakate parasamgate puti soha. Teata kate kate parakate parasangate puti soha. Teata kate kate parakate parasamgate puti soha. May all negative forces opposed to Dharma be completely pacified. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified. May we be separate from problems and harmful conditions. The Dharma, may all enjoyment be in accord with the Dharma, and may there be auspiciousness and perfect happiness here right now. By the knower of all hearers, seeing pacifications are led to peace. By the knower of paths, those benefiting, migrating beings accomplish the work of the world. By the perfect possessions of it, the subduer teach the verities possessing all aspects. To these mothers of the Buddhas, together with the host of hearer and bodhisattvas, homage. He who taught dependent origination, no cessation and no origination, no inhalation and no permanence, no coming and no going, neither differences, not same, these through climbing of conceptual elaborations, to you who is supreme speaker among all fully enlightened Buddha, I pay homage. These grounds adorned with perfume, strong with flower, adorned with Mount Meru, four continents, and sun and moon. I image this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamneya Taya Me. So this part, taking refuge and generating bodhicitta, make sure we really meditate or set up the bodhicitta intention is very, very important. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation I create through teaching the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation I create through teaching to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation I create through teaching to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Thus, by great compassion, you taught the immaculate Dharma to dispel the perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I make prostration. Namo lai ke talu da ni jin ji ye tu pon ta ta mi ke nan da to wa kun je da na che sang ba tam che ke to da ji che de to ran je song ra kun la ta we mi ke san ta ba tu be chu mo cho se we chu me ta je se ba se se shin ni nam la ku be tu okay. So last week, I think we finished stanza 5, right? Stanza 5. So uh, stanza 5, uh, I think it's one of the very important stanza, you know, here when he says, whatsoever depend on conditions, that is devoid of intrinsic existence. What excellent instruction can there be more amazing than these proclamations? So whatever depend on causes condition, that is empty of intrinsic existence. So that as a specific uh, Madhyamika philosophy followers are very, very important subject. This very important subject you need to understand. You know, whatsoever depend on causes condition, that means empty of intrinsic existence. That means things cannot exist intrinsically, independently. So what excellent instruction can there be? So that kind of instruction, and Lama Tsongkhapa was saying, is one of the most excellent instruction, one of the most powerful, teaching. None of other teacher been taught this way. It's only the Gautam Buddha is the one who talk about this. So that is why he says more amazing than this proclamation. This is the more amazing, to have that kind of teacher, knowledgeable, is the amazing teacher. So sometimes as a Buddhist, we can feel proud of being a student of this great teacher, Gautam Buddha. That kind of feeling, these kind of feeling, when you're understanding things not exist intrinsically because they are depend on causes conditions. That reason, right? So because of things are depend on causes condition, that means things cannot exist intrinsically, so independently. So in order to understanding on this stanza, so first for you, when hear the text saying intrinsic existence, what does that mean for you, right? For you, what you call the interpret, how you interpret that means, right? Intrinsic existence. That's the most part of practice first, because as mentioned early, number of those stanza is talking about, right, the ignorance, which is the mind of self-grasping, is the root causes of samsara, is the root causes of all your mental afflictions, right? All the degenerations of this world, means all the faults, all the suffering of this world in this samsara, right? The ignorance. So ignorance, which is the mind who grasp, who apprehend things exist intrinsically, independently. That ignorance is the root causes of all these sufferings. So now, in order to cut that root causes, mind of self-grasping, first, yourself, do you really understand intrinsic existence, which means what? Do you really see your mind is grasping objects who exist intrinsically? independently. Do you really see that way? Do you really understand that? So if you not understand, or if you're not cognizing, you know, your mind of ego grasping or mind of self grasping, who grasp things exist independently, then this emptiness meditation is very, very difficult. Uh, Whatever you study in this Madhyamika philosophy will not that much benefit. You may become scholar in this philosophy, but this philosophy never helps you to subdue or to tame your mind, right? This philosophy, this knowledge will not help you to overcome your suffering, your ignorance. So that is why, first, it's very, very important. Do you really understand? Your mind is the one who grasping everything, every objects appear to your mind, either person, yourself, or any external phenomena, objects. Whatever objects appear to your mind, it appear intrinsically existence, right? Independently existence, which means exists inherently. So that one first, you really need to understand that. So that's why Lama Tsongkhapa was very much emphasized on when they teach the emptiness meditation in Lamrim Chemo, right? The stages of the path of enlightenment, the third volume. He first telling us you need to understand the object of negation, right? Object of negation. What that means, need to understand object of negation, what that means. That doesn't mean just word, right? Oh yes, what is the object of negation? Our object of negation is intrinsic existence, independent existence. Just knowing the word is not enough. Knowing the object of negation, which means your mind is the one right now who is grasping or apprehending things exist intrinsically, independently, inherently. So that, do you really see that? Do you really understand that? So if you're not seeing that, first you should meditate on that. Meditate means investigate, analyze. What that really means to you, right? So then when you know that, oh yes, my mind is like, it is saying like our mind is completely 100% covered or polluted by ignorance, the mind of ego grasping. It's completely polluted. So that means objects, when they appear to our mind, any conventional objects, anything appear to our minds, it's appear intrinsically existence, appearance that. Then upon there, then we grasp it. When they appear to mind, then we grasping, we believing, we apprehend. Yes, things exist independently. That's called mind of ego grasping. So appearance, grasping, the two things you need to distinguish. And the mind itself, appearance means just reflecting, seeing something exists independently. It's called appearance. Grasping means you apprehending, right? You believing, you're apprehending things exist independently. There are two differences. So Grasping is the mind of self-grasping itself, right? Who grasp things exist independently. But the appearing is why they appear, appearing the things exist independently. That kind of appearance is polluted by the imprints of mind of ego grasping, the tendency, right? Imprints of the bhakta, tendency. So we have so many, we store so many imprints of the mind of ego grasping, right? It's imprints storing that. That's why in our mind, anything when they appear, it's appearing independent existence. So when we meditate emptiness, means our mind meditate emptiness. What that mean? That means first, you appear things exist independently. Then next, you grasping. Yes, this flower is solid air. I believe that you grasping, right? That's mind of ego grasping. So first, you recognize that. So anytime when my mind is seeing the flower there, I always believing, grasping, flower is on the table there. I can grab it. I never ever seeing this flower is just, my mind is just labeled there. My thoughts, right? My thoughts just labeled, called the merely labeling, designated. It's not like that. It's there. I'm not seeing this flower is just labeled by my mind, labels by my words, like a name. It's beyond there. It's something from there, right? Not merely established by names and thoughts. It's beyond there. It's there. That kind of grasping. You need to know that. So this is also meditation, right? This is very important meditation because now you understanding the object of negation. Then next, when you meditate, you're negating. What you're negating? You're negating the object when you're grasping, you're believing it's not there, it's not that, it's not that. That's negating. That object of negation, right? Who grasping things exist independently. They should, no, 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 they are not exist independent. It's just label, it's just dependent. So you're negating that. So when you do these things, first understanding the object of the mind of self-grasping you have, and then you're applying the logic. For instance, that's stanza 5, right? Whatsoever depend on conditions, causes the condition, that means that is devoid of intrinsic existence, which means that is empty of intrinsic existence. So that logic you're using, then saying, oh, they are empty of intrinsic existence, means they're empty of exist from the object side. And that moment, when you're negating that object, intrinsic existence, when you negate it, in that moment, to your mind is just feel like a seeing like nothing in exists, like a space or something else you're seeing. That you need to, yourself need to investigate. Nobody knows that. You have to do this research, right? So when I negate this independent existence of the object, whatever phenomena, in that state of mind, in that stage, or in that, I don't know how to say, in that moment, in your mind is like a feel like a nothing exists, anything, like a space, or you see something else, right? And that's, you need to know that. That's the first when you meditate on emptiness. Then other things are, it is not just, you know, okay, intrinsic existence, you just visualizing intrinsic existence. Then emptiness means you also visualizing things not exist independently. Their visualization and the actual experience, very differences. So you shouldn't only remain on visualization. Visualization is still not yet emptiness, still not yet there. You are just visualizing, you not get there, right? If you want to go to the India, right? Today, okay, you're planning, next week I will go to India. I will go to this place, that place. You're visualizing all those places, right? But you not get there. That you're visualizing. After you get there to the India is very differences. The place you get it, place you visualize, huge differences. So therefore, sometimes when we meditate emptiness, I think sometimes, because I'm talking to my own experience, that's why. First when you started, you may just visualizing everything's empty, means you just visualize space. There's nothing, just space. There's, there's that kind of, of course, when you not study on emptiness, it is better than nothing, right? It is better than nothing. But it is, of course, it is not going to antidote to your mind of ego grasping. It's not going to antidote to there, right? You just look at yourself. You just visualize like a space. Just sit that stage of the mind, space, and that visualization. How can that antidote to your mind of ego grasping? It is, I think it is impossible, right? So therefore, it's why we are not experiencing emptiness, or why you not really feel it, because we still not yet understand the object of negation, the mind of ego grasping through your own experience. You still not yet, understand that. That's why you cannot able to apply, your meditation cannot able to apply to antidote to your mind of ego grasping. You cannot apply there because you don't see that mind of ego grasping. In your mind, that target is not clear. The target is not there. You don't see that. So when you don't see the target, how can you shoot the arrow to this target? Even you don't see that target, right? So that is why meditate on emptiness is first understanding your own mind of ego grasping or self grasping, which you have right now. This mind, you know, really apprehending, grasping everything they see appear to mind, something exists independent. Now I see that. That kind of experience you need. Now I really know my mind of ego grasping, how the grasp things exist independently, right? When you see that, then you apply this logic, right? You grasping things exist independently, but it is not there. It does not exist independently there, right? You prove. So when you prove that, what kind of reason, the logic you prove it? So in this, according to the sutra, one of the most, what you call the uh, powerful reason where Buddha taught is dependent origination, dependent on causes condition, right? That's Buddha says. Now, many sutra, he talk about these many sutra. One of the sutra I use here, it is called the sutra requested by Anavata Pada, which is one of the Naga king, I think Naga king, during the Buddha's time. In Tibetan we call Lui Jebu Matuba, Matuba, Anawatapata, in Sanskrit, Anawatapata, king, the Naga king's name, Anawatapata. He, caution to the Buddha, and Buddha gives certain type of the answer. So one of that answer sutra, Buddha says, whatever is arise from conditions has not truly arising. So whatever, whatever is arise from cause condition has not truly exist, has not truly exist, which means independently existence, inherently existence, right? Which means whatever things depend on cause condition, that means things cannot exist truly, means intrinsically, independently arising. It does not possess an inherent nature of arising, right? It does not possess an inherent nature of arising. That which depend upon condition is said to be empty. So that which depend on condition is said to be empty, means empty of inherent existence, right? We have to put that way. One who understands emptiness is truly peace. So one who understands the emptiness is truly peace. It can receive truly nirvana. Peace is the nirvana, right? So many, he use things not exist inherently because they are dependent on causes conditions, number of times. And also same, Nagarjuna also say that way, Amakirti, right? Also exactly, Chandakirti. Yeah, Chandakirti, sorry, not Amakirti. Chandakirti engage into the middle way. Exactly same. He is saying, therefore, this reasoning of dependent originations cut through the entire wave of wrong view, right? So dependent origination, understanding of that will cut all your wrong view, which is your mind of self-grasping, right? So all those master, Nagarjuna, Chandakirti, Bhuttapalita, Aryadeva, all these, Madhyamika scholars, philosophers, same message. So that is why now as a follower, now our goal is we need to cut our mind of self-grasping, right? Which is taught when Buddha says, when he teach the 12 link of interdependence, right? How oneself circle in samsara, right? How oneself circle in samsara. He taught 12 link. So first, the root causes explain ignorance, right? Ignorance. So which is self-grasping, ignorance. When they write the wheel of dharma, the arts, right? When they put the arts, wheel of dharma, in the center of that arts, they put three animals: pig, snakes, and the rooster, or the bird, right? Three. So snake's tail and the rooster tail coming from pig mouth, right? Pig's mouth inside there, this two tail come. That's how they draw this wheel of dharma. What does that mean? These, it's actually, it's taught by Buddha, right, to one of the king to draw that and gift that beautiful arts to another king, right? So who mainly is wheel of dharma, when you look completely drawing arts, when you see it, it's explaining how oneself circle in samsara. All these 12 link, everything clear. So that peak represent ignorance, mind of self-grasping, right? Rooster, or that bird, refers attachments. Then snake refers anger. So these two poison minds, snake and attachment, coming from the pig mouth, which is the ignorance, mind of ego grasping, self-grasping. So mind of self-grasping is the root causes, create attachment, anger, all the karma. That's how we circle in samsara. That gives all this detailed information. So now, as ordinary beings, the purpose of we studying in this text is to overcome suffering, right? To liberate oneself. So who bounded, tied us into samsara, right? General three poison mind, all the mental affliction, but the root causes of samsara is mind of self-grasping, which we have. So we are the one who tied by mind of ego, self-grasping. That's why we circle in samsara. So we have to apply to ourselves. Now, to cut that mind of self-grasping, we need to understanding, because we've been victim of this mind of self-grasping. We truly believed what the mind of self-grasping telling us, right? We believe that. That's how we still, circle in samsara. Now, when we against that mind of self-grasping, so first, what the mind of self-grasping telling us, right? What he's showing us, what we're believing right now, that you need to know that. So that's called object of negation, I mentioned earlier, right? So that means the self-individual, the object which we have, everything's appearing to our mind, something solid, absolute, independent. What does that mean? That means this mark is there, right? It's there. I can hold it. I can grab it. We never thinking this mark is just, I label it. We never think this is, I just label. Label by name. Label by thoughts, my mind. Do you really see that way? Of course not, right? Somebody, when they're angry, shouting to us, do we see that person is we just label by our mind? If you see, definitely we believe this guy is just labeled or designated by your mind. We're not going to accuse that guy because we label it that, right? Not we feel angry. We feel attached to object, which means deep of our heart, we're clinging. There's something there, solid there, right? That's called mind of self-grasping. So that's very, very important to know that. You know, it's very difficult, but you have to make habits. You have to make habits to learn that way, not just go, oh, this, next what, next what, next what. We just go and just for knowledge, of course, is better than nothing. We can uh, put the seeds of this, but finally, we need to experience. And if you not experience each of these realization, we'll struggle, we'll stuck there. And how much you go, we cannot go there. We're stuck there. There's a big knot. There's a big knot. We make a knot. Now, how much you try, you cannot go. You have to open that knot. Each knot we need to open, right? So it means experience things. So experiencing each of these realization, when you experience, then that will lose each knot. We put it there. That will open each of these knots. Otherwise, these knots will bondage, tighten us into something. We cannot go up there, right? We tight there. So therefore, even if you experience really emptiness, then when you any meditation, when you do it, even simple Vajrayana practice become so powerful. Even oneself, self-generation, right? When the self become our deities, very different now. It's front generation, visualizing deities in our front, very different now. Now you're really understanding, it goes to the definitive deities, not just provisional deities. Provisional deities are the representative. They are not real ones. It's the representators. In representing something else. Right? If you don't get what they're representing, then you will not going to reach, you will not going to experience. We're visualizing Tara, or you're visualizing Compassion Buddha, or Vajrasattva, right? Any deities. When you truly experience emptiness, and that realizations of emptiness, right? That realization of emptiness manifests as a deity, and that's really powerful. It's just label. It's the mainly Dharmakaya. Main is the Dharmakaya, right? That's the main deity. Definitive deity is a Dharmakaya, right? And that manifests as a Sambhogakaya or Rupakaya, any types of aspect of the form, the shapes, colors, whatever they appear, right? Is the mainly that representing is the definitive deities, which is the Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya is realization, right? Wisdom of emptiness, realization. That's the meaning. So as a Buddhist, when you first enter the Buddhist path, becoming Buddhist, we fully relying on three precious jewels. That's how we call Buddhists, right? You take refuge to three precious. Among these three, main savior, your actual savior is the Dharma, right? It's saying the Dharma. Dharma is the actual savior. So what that means you generating karma. It's your realization. That karma will save you, right? So everything when the beginner, when you enter, they're talking about the dharma is your actual saver. So when you ignore the dharma, means you not that much pay attention for experiencing the dharma, then whatever things you go just on the symbolism. It's just rituals, but you not get the actual, you didn't taste it. You never experienced, you never taste the actual one. So when you don't taste the actual karma, your inner obstacles, your mental afflictions, which are the fundamental causes of your suffering, never change. It never affected, right? When Buddha first teach Four Noble Truths, he taught the suffering come from origin of suffering. He introduced the origin of suffering, the truth of origin of suffering, mental afflictions, and karmas. So the purpose of karma is to overcome that. This your mental affliction and your karma. So your mental affliction only when you experience the dharma, not visualize, not believe in simple things. When you experience, then it will shake. It start to shaking your mental afflictions. That way. So that is why it is very, very important as a practitioners, not just, go just only surface, just little test and go. And you get something very bad, what you call influence or habit. I quite oftenly tell to my students, I say, as a monk, becoming monk for very young age, too young age, very young age, not knowing that much, and you're taking all this empowerment, initiation, ritual, all kind of things, even very, very young age. So that kind of contagious, that kind of habit, eventually not that much focus on experiential level, not that much focus there. Rather, little bit visualize, little bit this, little bit that, little bit, just go. Or what new things comes. Oh, this is emotionally very, very feel so much emotion. Very feel something. Oh, that must be great. Go that way. Oh, my teacher have something new thing. Others do not have this. Oh, they may be something special. It's these kind of habit. It's really, really obstruct your karma, obstruct you. These are obstacles. So that's why I say these are contagious disease. It can easily be contagious to other people. What are you doing? You get this empowerment. Oh, I will go to get this. What today? Oh, this is one master talking about blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's something new. I want to this day. This is very famous. You have a many follower, blah, blah, blah. Follow this way. Go everywhere. Ended up when you are close to death. Now you cannot go that much. Your physical, what you call the body is too tired, cannot go. What you practice now, what you experience, nothing experience anything. You keep going to something else. So these are the contagious disease. It's really, really, what you call, it's just lie for you. It's lying you, showing something. But honestly, it's not give you real fruit. You don't get it anything. So that is why I'm saying here is, first, it's specific in this text when we're studying right now. Our goal is something experience emptiness. And that's the goal, to cut your ignorance. So now, not just academic or something. Rather, we should go with the experiential level. Start that way. So in experiential level, when you start it, then first step is everything, whatever I'm doing, is here to cut my mind of ego grasping, my mind self grasping. If I don't cut it, this one, if I'm not antidote to this one, so it doesn't matter whatever practice I'm doing, my mind of self grasping will not move anything at all. Even is not moving, even is not declining, nothing else, right? Where the Buddha says, the mentioned earlier, like a previous stanza, the wisdom of emptiness is only the wisdom who can cut your mind of self-grasping, nothing else, right? Buddha, Nagarjuna, Chandrakirti, the master, same mentioned last time, right? Many examples, they use it. So that showing is, or I need to experience wisdom of emptiness myself, nothing else, to cut my mind of self-grasping. So in order to apply my studying practice of emptiness to something really helps to cut my self-grasping, my self-grasping, first, I really, really need to understand this mind of self-grasping, what they're functioning, what is doing. Right? That's why object communication. So that even you spend time to just recognize that, right? Your mind, think when they appear in grasp, it's something from the object side. There. I never seen this is just imputed by labels. So that means now you need to understanding labeling, designated by names and thought. What that mean? Designated, which means what? Label, which means what? And that you need to know first, right? Everything's are just label, designated by names and thoughts, right? So what that means? Thought designated, which means when my mind, my eye consciousness see your face, right? When I saw your face, in my thought is thinking, telling me he is there, she is there. Right? I saw him, I saw her. That my thought is thinking, right? I saw John, I saw Mary, right? I saw her, this. When you saw her face, right? That means your thought is labeled, designated you on your face, right? On your face. When I saw your face, I say, I saw him. That means your thought is labeled, designated you on the basis of your face. That's how we should know now. So everything when you see, like even flower, we see these all these shapes and designs and all this appear. When we saw that, I say, there is a flower. Or this flower is white. Or this flower is orchids. Or this flower is something. This, my thought is thinking. It means each of these thinking is labeling, right? Flower, orchids, colors, shapes, everything you label. That's called the labeling. I saw this flower. I saw orchids. I saw this. I saw that, right? That's called label. So now that face is not you, right? That face is not the John, right? As soon as when you saw the face of the John, your thoughts say, I saw the John on the basic of John's face. That's called basic of imputation, right? The face is the basic of imputation, right? Imputation, basic of designation, right? And that face is not the John. On that face, when you investigate, you cannot find anything there. John, you cannot find John from that basis, the basic of imputation. There's nothing, anything you cannot find anything from there. That, not just saying, you need to investigate that. Okay, I saw this face, and at the moment, my mind, my thought is thinking, I'm seeing John, right? What do you see? The John's face, which is the basic of imputation. Now I investigate. Okay, in this John's face is nose, ear, eye, tongue, lips, go one by one. Go each of the particles, go skin, the color, you go it. Cannot find anything there. But our mind is not thinking that way. Our thought is still grasping John is there, right? John is there. So you feel angry, you feel attached, you feel happy. Whatever you experience to seeing the John, you're experiencing that from that object. But the object where you really, the basic of imputation, you cannot see anything. You cannot find it from there. Anything there, right? So that's how you need to investigate. So then finally, when you don't see it, means when you don't find it, John's from that face, then you say, oh, it's appear as a John. But John is nothing really exists from that object side. It's not exists from that object of imputation. From there, it is not from there. When you're negating that, right? That John, when you negate, at that moment, what you see, what you feel it, you're just negating John. Something for you, he's something there. That kind of you believing. Now you investigate, you cannot find it. Finally, your mind is saying, John is nothing from the object of imputation, right? From the face, from that object side. John is nothing there. It's not just visualizing. Now you can see differences. You can visualize John is not there, but your mind is still grasp John is there. Right? If your mind is still grasping John is there, then that visualizing is whatever you meditate. It's not going to be antidote to mind of your self-grasping. Your mind is still thinking John is there, right? Sometimes you're visualizing John is not there, it's empty, but the deep of your heart is still thinking John's there. So as long as their mind of ego grasping is still there, he's sitting very relaxing. Your meditation emptiness, that visualizing, is just hanging up there. It's not really shooting to that target. Target is your mind of ego grasping. It's not moving anything there, nothing changing. That is why I'm saying is not just visualize. Through the investigate, finally your heart, really there's not John there on the object side. There's really nothing from the object side. That kind of experience, like that kind of conviction, when you experience or not, do you really feel it or not, right? It's very difficult. When you feel it, very differences. Now that is the seed of wisdom of emptiness. So through slowly, that feeling comes, even just remain 1 second, really powerful. Now you hold that longer, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Even if they're disappearing, you again investigate. use this logic same again to prove, because our mind of ego grasping being influenced us for eons and eons of life. And we live in that. So it's a very heavy influence. So it's even you seeing things not there, but you're still believing this. Things still there, things still there. That heavy influence. So you have to constantly fight it back to that mind of ego. It's really not there. This reason you go against that again and again and again. Eventually, that mind of ego grasping exhausted, right? Slowly, slowly, it's exhausting. Slowly, slowly, it's starting to declining, right? Slowly, slowly, it's getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So each time when it's getting weaker, 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 you're getting closer, closer, closer to the Buddhahood. That's how it is. You are getting closer, closer to the liberation. That's the means practice, which means that. So otherwise, if these things are nothing doing anything, then the practice is just you visualize. It's just there, hanging out there. So sometimes, as a Vajrayana practitioners, because we are not really on that stage, our mind is not what you call not qualified in do this practice. So it's very difficult. That's why we're just visualizing, because we cannot experience these things. So that kind of influence, I'm not saying this is rubbish. It is good, because you're still planting the seeds there in the future, right? You're already planting the seed, but never experience anything, not achievement. Realization is not there. We're just planting the seed. Even that's good. But sometimes these kind of influence, then every practice is just like that. It's not really focused to experience. It's just visualization, go very soft way. So practice everything is just put the seed, that's all. Nothing experience. That is what I'm saying is the lower renunciation, compassion, wisdom of emptiness. These things, we not just only visualize, we really put effort to experience these things, need to achieve these things, right? So this practice you just visualize, go like that way, then really your mind is not change anything. It just you storing, many good influence, the tendency we're storing there, but nothing, any experience realization. That is why I'm saying here is to something little bit change, to experience something. Because reason is, when we learn the, Lamrim, the first they're always talking about precious human life, right? It's the life today we have is called the very precious. Why is called very precious, right? 8, what you call the leisure and 10 opportunities, right? 18 qualities of the life. For the Vajrayana perspective, human beings' life is much, much, much higher than even the God realms' lives. God realms cannot do this, Vajrayana. Many form realms, formless realms, not. Human realms have this because of human nerve system we have. We have a chakras, the wind elements. So there's the body structure the human being has, which is God and demigod. Other realms, they do not have this. That's why these are the bodhisattvas who are dedicating their merit to born into human beings, right? That's how they do it, because human beings' life has opportunity to achieve Buddhahood in one life, if the good one practitioners. So, but that precious for beginner means this is the life if you put effort to recognize object of negation, emptiness, study, meditate, analyze. I think we can do it here. And specific this era, this generation, the teachings are available, right? This dharma, these philosophies are still here. It's not disappeared yet. It's still live. And of course, one day it will disappear. This system, this teaching, everything will be, one day it will disappear. So right now, they are live. And these teachers are lives. Teachings are lives. And you can able to study everything you can do. So if you put effort in this life, you can experience emptiness, you can experience renunciation, bodhicitta, you can cultivate these things. That's possible, right? As our life has this. So therefore, in that one of the best opportunity time, if you don't put it, just only imprints, next life, who knows? And maybe going to born, even born into human beings, but there is no dharma available, then what's the point? Today you can see, living in this country, you can see the majority peoples are hanging around of the materialistic life. They're all talking about material. They're all day-to-day life, how can make money, how can take care of this, how can take care of my house, my this, my that, that's all. Then one day going to die and finished. And that's all. That's the majority lives that way. Teaching dharma is the rare, very difficult to connect it, that kind of environment. Specific, the teaching on emptiness, it's more difficult, more difficult to find it. So that's how I say, this is the time I really need to be experience this, dharma. Otherwise, I will going to miss this. And if I don't experience emptiness, next life, getting worse and worse. If I, this life, really experience emptiness, recognizing object of negation, eventually slowly, not just visualizing through your own experience, then you say, really things are not exist independently because of this, because of that. This logic clicks you eventually when you experience these things. Everything clicks. Then you can see the Buddha, Shakyamuni, who's the first person who discovered this philosophy, that kind of knowledge. Then you can feel amazing kind of the teacher, amazing, teachers, speakers, through your own experience on empty, right? Which means dependence. So that kind of experience. So therefore, it is not just we just finish the text and go and finish it and then, that's the easiest part, rather through experience. So therefore, today focus is object of negation. You really understand, recognize, and then when you apply the emptiness, at the moment when you investigate the object itself from, for instance, flower. So you investigating from the object of, what you call the external, the flower which they have here, right? External flower. These flowers are complicated. Okay, this is the what you call the basic of imputation. All these color and shapes and design, like these things there. As soon as everybody saw that, you say, flowers there. Right? You can see that. Your mind is grasping flower. Dishipende is holding this white flower. You grasp that. At that moment, your mind is never thinking, this flower is just, my thought is just label. My mind is labeling. My name, the flower, I just named it, barely named it. merely imputed. We never think that. It's there. It's Kishila's hand, right? That's called mind of self-grasping. You grasp flower. Self doesn't mean only the person. Self in the phenomena, right? Have their own self. Flower is their own self. A flower itself. So it goes to all the phenomena. So then, if this is the case, where is it flower? You take it each petal one by one. Is this is the flower? Or this is the flower? You're checking, investigate. This the things which you're seeing for you is a flower. This is called basic of imputation, basic of what you call designation, right? We designate on these things as a flower. We designate it, right? We label, we impute it on this. So this is the basic of imputation. So for us, this basic of imputation is flower. That's how we see it. This is the flower. So therefore, if this is the flower, where is it? Then you go each petals. Where is that flower? Each petals, you check it. Eventually, you cannot find it from there. So, flower is not from there. Flower is not from the basic of imputation, not just visualizing from your heart. It's not there, still appearing for my mind. It's still seeing flower is there, but my heart is not grasping, right? Not thinking flower is there, right? In that moment, when you negate, what you're negating? You're negating independent existent flower. Flower means something solid, this external flower, right? You're seeing from the object side, it's not there, not from the object side. When you negate it at that moment in your mind, what you're seeing is just like a space, or it's something different, what you experience. That you need to know, right? So when meditating on emptiness, usually we're just visualizing everything is empty, like a space now. You just visualize the space. You're not really thinking there, right? So no experience. So then even emptiness meditation is not that much interest. It's not that much feeling. It's just you visualizing things. So therefore, when you investigate and your heart, okay, I grasp that. I know I'm grasping from the object side. I investigate myself. Where is it? Each of these petals. Go each one by one. Where is it? So finally, when you say, oh, really, there's nothing there, it's when you first moment. That's why what I'm saying is, at the first moment, when you're really negating independent existence of flower, at the moment, I think it's like a thing. Means there's nothing in it, like a really non-exists, like a nihilism. So do you feel that way or what? So I mentioned last time, I told you, I'm not saying I'm experiencing emptiness. I say I'm discuss with one of my dear friends, some really high practitioners, my classmates, so about this experience. So I was telling him, say, first, when you meditate on emptiness, at the moment, the first, not really experience emptiness, but when you're on the way there, maybe you may feel there's really nothing there, something non-exists, like fall into nihilism. Then after that, if there's nothing exists, it's contradict, because I'm not exist now. Flowers not exist. If I'm not exist, who's meditating now, right? Who's meditating? If the person is not exist, then there's no meditation, right? So it's contradict. I feel, I hear, I see something. There's something there, through experience, it's functioning. Things are functioning, right? So that means now, how does that exist now? Because there's nothing there, but still have to say this. How does? That's why exists dependently, dependent origination. It's just relatively, dependently. So when you go towards that way, empty means dependence. Dependent means empty. Empty doesn't mean non-function or nothing function, nihilism. Empty, which means dependent. When you're coming in that path, then you are on the right path. It's called that you are on the right track. Now that will, Buddha's intention. You are on that. So empty, when you go, eventually there's a nothing exists. Nihilism. That means you are falling into the extreme nihilism. So, but first, you're going, I was thinking first maybe towards almost nihilism part. Otherwise, if you don't feel that way, dependence coming back, it might be very difficult, because as long as when you have anything to cling, there's something exists. As long as when you feel exists something, there's always mind of self-grasping. Because for you, anything exists there on the object side, because you do not know that dependence side. So therefore, at the first experience, maybe nihilism. So even when you meditate on emptiness, even it goes to the nihilism. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but I was thinking is, even my thinking is wrong, it is possible, right? So that I'm seeing is, if they're going to nihilism, I think it's good. It's on the way there, but not really spot, not the real middle way there, but it's on the way there. Then eventually goes to the nihilism, all the way feeling, then eventually second question, who's meditating? Oh, I'm feeling something. If I'm not exist, why I feel this? There's something. Then coming back, oh, how does it is? Because I go look it, I cannot find anything. There's nothing, anything there. But there's something functioning there, right? Through your experience, you feel. So that's, even you don't see anything, that way exists because it's functioning. Therefore, I have to say exists because it's functioning. So only the way to exist just label, designate it. Just your labeling. Way of the existence is just label. There's nothing solid there. So that kind of, dependent, it's, I think, very, very important to understand that. If you got the main point, then when we read these texts, stanza one by one, whatever, point is the same. It's always come, this emptiness is dependent. Dependent is emptiness. Always the same meaning. Everything comes to that. So when that emptiness is something not clear, whatever we talk, whatever teaching, it just on the air. It's not, coming down on the land. It's just sitting on the air. So that is why today I try to, focus to the really experience that emptiness and investigate yourself. You don't need to worry, even it's going to the nihilism, wherever. Just let them go, right? What you should investigate, let them go, your mind, where they're going. Go all the way there. So eventually you cannot find anything there, because really the thing's nothing there. Even it's good, there's something you get there, right? Then slowly, dependent origination will comes back there. Things will slowly. So, but when you really experience that level of emptiness, then any practice you do, Vajrayana, anything, Sutra, and anything you do, so out of emptiness, wisdom of emptiness, then every practice you do helps to antidote to your mind of ego grasping. That become really what you call solid weapon, can able to antidote to your mind of ego grasping. Otherwise, nothing. Otherwise, none of others cannot antidote to your mind of ego grasping. So even it takes eons of life, you can put effort to get this emptiness. Because without that, there's nothing, right? You're not going to get anything there. So for that, you can spend, not hurry, spend days, weeks, months, years and years, years and years. Spend your time to experience on these things. So that's why these are the first very important to understand. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here today. We didn't go any one stanza, but I was thinking is, something we're learning here. It's not just, I've been teaching on emptiness for so many times, on this philosophy. So it's not just only simple philosophy. So we can also now to what you call to something we learn experiential level, and how should we improve, kind of the more experiential level, not just what you call the pop and scholar, right? Experiential level. So that's why the what you call I focus on to the more experiential levels. So now I will going to leave here. We have a few minutes of question and answer section. So any questions, you can go ahead. Kemako, yeah.
Yes, Krishna. I have some questions. So you mentioned about the labeling. So this one is very important to, how to say, in get rid of our suffering or cycle of samsara. So I want to ask your perspectives on this statement. Like before having the conceptual mind or labeling things, right? We always see the objects with their qualities, without concepts or labeling. But without meditation, it's very difficult to see the gap or slow down this process to differentiate between the real qualities and the creation or projection of our concepts or labeling mind. But with the meditation, we can slow down and see clearly this gap and the differences of the real qualities of the object and what is projections of the conceptual mind.
So of course, anything, even we're not labeling or whatever in our mind is not, as soon as anything, when we see anything, when we see our mind, it's already labeling anything. Like even we do not labeling as a tree, but there's our level, or there's something there, or there's something there. So something from the object sides, we always, we have in it naturally, because of being influenced by mind of ego grasping from beginningless to till today. So our mind, anything we see, either label, not label, doesn't matter. Anything we see, everything exists from the object side. That's we see, that's we experience. Not only seeing, we grasp that way. Anything appear to our mind, we grasp things exist from the object sides. So therefore, for that perspective, labeling all of these things after when we meditate, then when we start the investigation, then we are investigating, oh, this is labeled just, but it's not from there. So these kind of things only after when we meditate, our minds are calmed down, we will see. But otherwise, general, everything's appear to us as a exists from the object side. Is that your question?
Yeah, that's my question. That means that labeling or our conceptual mind is not the cause of suffering, but craving to the labeling or the conceptual mind
Yes.
prevents us to see the objects with their qualities at present moment.
Yeah, this also the uh, difficulty to say. Labeling, what that means, labeling means the mind itself, when you see the flower, right? When they see the flower, you say, flower is there. So that kind of grasping, it's called you label. So the mind labeling itself, the whole labeling flower on the objects, mind itself is same term who grasp things exist from the object side. So when they grasp things exist from the object side, that mind creates anger, attachments, because it's solid there. This attractive object is solid there. So very attractive, it's from there. So you attach, you feel attached. And that attachments create the problems. So therefore, the mind who labels the object from the object side, this is also part of your mind of ego grasping. It's also labeling. Not only mind of ego grasping, even your attachment is going to label. So the variety thoughts, can label, which means any thoughts when they grasp, there's a flower, there's a beautiful. When they grasp that, when they think that way, that means you label. That mind is labeled on that objects.
So you mean that state also can create suffering already? For example, I have flowers in my room, but I just know that, oh, this is a flower. I don't have any feeling or emotions towards those flowers, like a like or dislike. So how can suffering can create it without like
Yes.
grasping to that
Yes,
labeling?
yes. Yes. Okay. So I will give you little detailed information. According to Buddhist ecology, mind of ego grasping, the fundamental ignorance. Actually, mind of ego grasping, they're not called mind of ego grasping as a non-virtuous mind. It is neutral. It's not virtuous mind. It's also not non-virtuous mind. It's a neutral mind between that. So this is itself directly doesn't mean it creates suffering or something. This is the mind. It's like a ground. It plant the solid ground. I mentioned last time, mind of ego grasping is who create this big solid wall. You create that wall. So now, when there is a wall, then you can put different colors of the paint, painting this, painting that, because there's a solid wall there, you can put all the colors. So mind of ego grasping means the mind who grasps, yes, flower is solid. You are not attached, you not hate, but say flower is solid there, flower is there. So as soon as when you make that, you make solid flower. Then that mind grounded, it's create attachment, anger, all the rest of destructive emotion. So these destructive emotion now it start to create the problems, sufferings. So mind of ego grasping itself at the moment, not pain, but it make a basic ground to create the rest of all the destructive emotions. That is why it's saying we need to get rid of mind of ego grasping is because this is the big boss. When you have gang, big boss not go to steal. He sits there. He's laughing, enjoying, nice. He sent the little people around there. These are the one troublemaker, stealing, killing, kind of things doing. But they all come from the big boss. He's the one controlling them. So when he failed, rest of all of these will be fail. They fall down because they are fully dependent on him. Like that, the mind of ego grasping, the big boss there. So the big boss is just sitting like that. It looks like it's not harming you or nothing. But this is the one who contact the solid, concrete, what you call the ground he created. Like that. Mind of ego grasping is like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Vishla.
Any questions?
Yes, guys, you have a question.
Go ahead.
Thank you. My question is relatively quick. And thank you for taking my question. The mind of ego grasping, Geshe, and correct me if I'm wrong, sounds like modern artificial intelligence. It sounds like ego grasping, or the mind of ego grasping, or the afflicted uh, uh, emotional mind represented by the pig, the chicken, and the snake is something similar to artificial intelligence, or is artificial intelligence, where Dharmakaya mind is valid actual awareness. Is that correct or incorrect?
Yeah, you can go that way, but artificial intelligence can reverse many different ways. So one way is it is just not true. It is just something, it's creating something, is in that perspective, mind of ego grasping is like that. Dharmakaya is the real valid cognitions. Mind of ego grasping is not reliable because it's based on mistaken consciousness. Therefore, when you more go back there, eventually it will fail because they are not based on valid reason. So that's why, for the Buddhist perspective, when the Buddha says the nature of mind is pure, mental afflictions are the temporary, right? He says that. Why it is saying? Because all the mental afflictions are based on mind of ego grasping. So mind of ego grasping is based on wrong reason. There's no base solid there. So when you investigate furthermore, mind of ego grasping will fail because there's not based on solid. That's why it's called mistaken consciousness, wrong consciousness. Therefore, when you furthermore investigate, go, eventually these minds will fail. So that's why nature of our mind is pure, which means that it's valid. And because of all the mental afflictions are based on wrong reasons. So they are not reliable. They are not solid, uh, ground there. So when you investigate, eventually it's all will fail that. So from that perspective, when you say artificial intelligence, then it is right. So the Dharmakaya, how much you go deeper, they always have correct reason. So when things are right, when things are valid, how much you investigate and research, instead of it's fail, it's becoming stronger and stronger, stable and stable. So that's why the Dharmakayas are the valid reasons.
Thank you, Geshe.
Okay, so we're going to stop here now. So finally, this week, at least, all of you, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just try to, nothing, emptiness meditation, just try to recognize the mind of ego grasping, self-grasping, your own mind of self-grasping, how the things grasp, so recognizing my mind of ego grasping, I can see now. It's really grasping everything solid there, absolutely. Independent existence. You can see it, like that kind of experience. You have to kind of meditate to understand, to cognizing your mind of ego grasping clear, and a clear recognize that. And then next time, go to the emptiness meditation, then you're straight against to your mind of ego grasping. And these kind of meditations are really, really powerful. And it really goes to the what you call the right path, which really helps to something to change your mind of ego grasping. So finally, main thing is wisdom of emptiness, right? When you really experience emptiness, and that wisdom, you meditate, you utilizing again. That's all, right? That you utilizing, getting higher. There's nothing new things there. From the wisdom side, same, just that emptiness. So the method side, a little bit differences. That's called 10 bhumis when we're talking about 10 stages of the Bodhisattva's path, grounds, bhumis. They meditate equipoise, and post-meditation, they do like a lotus, one another one, right? Meditation equipoise, post-meditation, come back to the meditation. That's how they go higher. When they meditate equipoise, they experience this emptiness, exactly the same thing. Same. So this, as soon as when you got the emptiness, then that's the wisdom. It's just that one. You utilizing, you experience, you meditating that same. Just remain on that emptiness longer with the assistance, bodhicitta, assistance of what you call generosity, perfection of generosity, perfection of ethics, and each of 10 perfection, 6 perfection, upon their 4 perfections, so 10 perfection assistance. That wisdom of emptiness becoming stronger. But the emptiness, the meditation is the same things. So that's why right now we're not getting there. So when you experience emptiness, then you just remain on that each time when you meditate on that's coming to the cleaning your mind of self-grasping, which has many layers, right? General, according to Sutrayana Mahayana, Sutrayana perspective, 9 layers they have, right? And that last, the 9th one, they divide it into 2, so ended up 10 different layers. So these layers you're cleaning. By meditation is emptiness. First layer you clean, there's another layer, like it's onions. You take it out, external layers, there's the inner one. You take it out, the inner one, that's how there's the 9 layers. And the last one is, the smallest one has 2. So finally, 10th layer, you clean it up, that's called Buddhahood, right? So all of these layers of the obstacle, who can clean your wisdom of emptiness? It's the same wisdom. So therefore, if you got it in this life, this wisdom, then you get that very, very powerful equipment. And you have that now. Now you have a very smart equipment. So you can fight to any enemies comes there. But right now we don't have that. We're just visualizing. So we're just visualizing when the enemy comes, we cannot fight it. You just visualize the heavy gun, but the enemy rail comes there, you cannot fight because you just visualize. You are not have weapons. So to create this wisdom of emptiness, then you got it. So therefore, it takes a time, but we have to make habit to change, not just visualize, not just simple. I really, try to get this wisdom. And when I got it, then I will every day, I will take it. This is the medicine I'm going to take every day, right? So that's how you need to set up intention. Okay, now finally, we go into dedication prayer. Samsara and nirvana, like even an atom of true existence, while cause and effect and dependent arising are infallible, I seek your blessing to discern the import of Nagarjuna's thought that these two are complementary and not contradictory. Chanjo semjo rinpoche ma jeba nang kijuchi. Jeba nyamba mepaya. Omnia kondo pewa show, may the precious and sublime Bodhicitta not yet born be born, and that which has been born not decline, but increase forever. In the snowy mountain paradise, you are the source of good and happiness, powerful things in Jatsu Chenresi, may you stay until samsara ends. Throughout the world, and in particular this region, may there be no sickness, famine, war, and so on. May all sentient beings live happily in accord with the law of Dharma, and may they all find wealth, prosperity, and all goodness. Okay, so we finished this time. So I mentioned if you try, this drink this each day, at least 5 minutes, meditate or investigate mind of self-grasping. Then next, when we have actual retreat on the mountain, then it's much better. You've already been meditating on this, and then during the retreat time, it's more possible, which I mentioned first time, Lama Tsongkhapa been meditating, all these things, study, all kind of things they're not doing, but finally, after years and years meditating things, then one night he dreamed Nagarjuna with 4 his disciples, Madhyamika philosophers master, Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, Buddhapalita, and Chadakriti, and I think Nagabodhi, those 5 master when he dreamed, and in the dream there are kind of discussion on emptiness. And finally, Buddhapalita come and give him his text, Buddhapalita living on his head, right? And that's the blessings. Then next morning when he read it, the text, and he really experienced the emptiness completed, right? Experienced emptiness completed. So the retreats and these things, so you're accumulating merit and something, and there's a chance. So, but before you're not meditating, you're nothing, and that one day blessing, of course, is not going to go that way. So you've been meditating and doing all those many, then some external condition, the small things, click it, it's completely changed these things. So that's why every day you meditate and accumulate merits. That he did the 3 things advised by Manjushri. So seeing your gurus and deities inseparably with your tremendous devotions, right? And then constantly investigate, analyzing the emptiness, to study all these books. And then last, accumulate merits and purify your obstacles. These 3 constantly do it. Then one day, blessing, external blessing, something clicks you and experience completely emptiness. So that level, when you got it, then you get the jackpot. The people are talking about what you call the lottery or something, then you really got the lottery, real lottery. Now there's a chance to liberate from samsara, real happiness, right? So that's how every day I go with these 3 together, always every day. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you,
Geshe-la.
Geshe-la.
Thank you.
Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you. Good night.